Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference was full of interesting announcements, starting with Apple's Racial Equity and Justice Initiative and COVID-19 address.
2 weeks ago, we announced Apple's Racial Equity and Justice Initiative with a commitment of $100 million. This initiative will challenge systemic barriers that limit opportunity for communities of color in the critical areas of education, economic equality, and criminal justice. The new Developer Entrepreneur Camp for Black developers. We want to do everything we can to foster the brightest lights and best ideas. Right now, our world is also battling a virus that is affecting the daily lives of billions of people. Today, the world is counting on all of us and on the products and experiences that we create to move forward. With that, let's get started by sending it over to Craig.
Its first product announcement was iOS 14. New features include an app library, size options for widgets, and picture-in-picture video.
Wouldn't it be great if there were a way to organize all of those apps without doing a thing? Well, this year we're doing just that with something called the App Library. It's a new space at the end of your home screen pages that automatically organizes all your apps in one simple and easy to navigate view. Let's turn to widgets. They now come in a variety of sizes. I'm just going to tap and hold on the weather widget, and I can drag it out of Today View and onto my home screen. Now, when I tap on one, I can actually page through all of the different sizes available. The Smart Stack, I'm just going to tap it and drop it here. With the Smart Stack, I can easily swipe through widgets to pick just the one I want for the moment. Next, we're also bringing Picture-in-Picture to iPhone. When I swipe to go home, the video automatically goes into Picture-in-Picture right over the home screen. And when I launch another app, like Notes, I can keep watching.
And Siri got seriously updated.
This year, you can now ask Siri to send an audio message, and Siri will start recording. When communicating with someone in another language, Siri can help with translations. That's why we're introducing a new app called Translate. Just tap on the microphone and say, "What are your store hours?"
¿Cuáles son las horas de su tienda?
And just turn the phone to landscape to open conversation mode.
Next up, messages.
We are introducing a new way to let you stay connected to your most important conversations by letting you pin them at the top of your list so you can always get to them. In iOS 14, we're adding even more ways to create your look with over 20 new hair and headwear styles to let you reflect your hobby, profession, and personality. We've also added something that's even more relevant today, face coverings.
And now you can mention people in group chats or respond in inline messages. And Apple Maps got some major upgrades. Not only can you now see dedicated routes for cycling, but also EV routing for electric cars.
With iOS 14, Maps will track your current charge and factor in things like elevation and weather to automatically add charging stops along your route.
Apple is even doing away with car keys. You can now leave the keys at home and unlock certain cars with your iPhone.
And the very first car to support this will be the new 2021 BMW 5 Series. And I place my phone on the charging pad and then push to start. With each key you share, you can set options, like a restricted driving profile, perfect for teen drivers.
The new BMW will be available to customers next month. In addition to adding this feature to iOS 14, we're also enabling it in iOS 13, so customers can use their car keys even sooner.
Introducing App Clips, a new feature designed to make sure you really do have an app for that.
They start with this card, which quickly pops up, and with just a tap, you can launch the app clip. You don't need to enter credit card numbers because app clips can use Apple Pay for payments. And you don't have to manually log into an account because it can take advantage of Sign In with Apple. You'll be able to tap on NFC tags out in the world on things like parking meters. Or you can scan QR codes to launch app clips that work with products you purchase. App clip code. So you tap on them or scan them with the camera to bring up an app clip. Small in size so they launch fast.
Photos, music, calls, and more have all been upgraded on the iPad OS too.
The sidebar is a really powerful way to organize your photos too. I can easily drag a photo to the sidebar and then just drop it to add it to an album. We've brought this sidebar to many apps across iPadOS, like Notes, where it provides quick and easy access to all your folders. I can quickly jump between the new Listen Now and my playlists.
Now an incoming call is presented with a compact notification that doesn't take you out of context. And you can simply tap to answer or flick it away to dismiss. As soon as you start typing, you get relevant suggestions to complete your search, and you can get to your web search results with just a tap.
Apple Pencil just got even more powerful.
And so now, when I draw a simple shape and pause at the end, it'll automatically convert to that ideal shape, retaining the same size and angle that you drew it at. You'll notice how we can select the handwriting while avoiding the drawings nearby. I can easily change the color or move it around the document. It also works in any text field, so I can easily add a new reminder to my shared reminders list with my husband. You'll notice how Scribble recognizes both English and Chinese in the same line.
Apple packed more features into its AirPods, including the ability to automatically switch between devices and spatial audio.
So we use the accelerometer and gyroscopes in AirPods Pro to track the motion of your head, remapping the sound field so it stays anchored to your device, even as your head moves. And it's not only your head that can move, but you might move your iPad or iPhone as well. That's why we constantly compare the motion data from your head and your screen. The sound stays in sync.
Don't worry, the Apple Watch was not left out of the OS upgrade parade. The fitness app now supports dance. And on the flip side, it has sleep tracking.
Apple Watch tracks your sleep using a machine learning model that senses your motion and even interprets the micro movements caused by the rise and fall of your breath.
It can even track your hand washing.
Our approach here is using machine learning models to determine motion which appears to be hand washing, and then use audio to confirm the sound of running water or squishing soap on your hands.
On a more serious note, Apple pivoted to privacy. We're looking at more security, more tracking control, and more transparency in apps.
You can see if a developer is collecting a little bit of data on you or a lot of data, or if they're sharing data with other companies to track you.
We're going to put this information on product pages in the App Store. So for each app, you can see highlights of their privacy information before you download it.
Your smart home could also get smarter. Apple's home products got a whole series of updates, including automation, adaptive lighting, and facial recognition.
Telling you who's there by leveraging the friends and family you've already tagged in your Photos app.
Now for the big Mac OS update. Big Sur. Apple has redesigned every app, updated the notification center and widgets, and added a control center to the Mac.
So say I want one-click access to Do Not Disturb. Well, I can just click and drag it right into my menu bar and customize just like that.
Safari got a slew of new features, like extensions, a built-in translation, and a visual way to control tabs.
You can just hover over tabs and see a nice preview of the page.
And all of the Mac apps will feel different, because the Mac is getting a new processor. Apple Silicon is Apple's response to Intel.
Now, when we talk about performance, we have to talk about power, because all systems built today are constrained by power consumption, thermals, or both. Desktops deliver the highest performance but consume the most power. Notebooks trade off performance for lower power, making them portable. As you can see, normally to get more performance, you have to consume more power. When you take a closer look at this chart, you realize you want to operate in the upper left corner. You want to deliver the highest performance at the lowest power consumption. And that's exactly where we want to take the Mac.
One huge feature is the uniform architecture that allows almost every app to function on all platforms. Rosetta 2 and a new Quick Start program will make it easy for developers to transition apps between platforms. But developers have time.
The vast majority of Mac apps can be recompiled as universal in a few days, so users can have fast, native apps. Rosetta 2 runs existing Mac apps. Our virtualization technology makes it easier than ever to bring other environments like Linux to the Mac. And Mac users can, for the first time, run iOS and iPadOS apps directly, tapping into the world's most vital app ecosystem.
So what's the timeline for this transition? Well, for developers, it begins this week. And for the customers, we expect to ship our first Mac with Apple Silicon by the end of this year. And we expect the transition to take about 2 years. Our OS releases will be available as developer betas today, and each of them will have a public beta, including watchOS for the very first time starting next month. And all of this great software will be available to our customers this fall.